Good evening, everyone. I am Lulu Hamad, co-founder of Yalla, Indivisible. On behalf of the organizers of this forum, the Arab American Civic Council, CAIR-LA, California, Jewish Voice for Peace, and Yalla Indivisible, I welcome you. I will start with the land acknowledgement. We will begin first with an Indigenous Land and African Labor Recognition Statement adapted from Melina Abdullah of Black Lives Matter, Los Angeles, and with the assistance of Reverend Gregory Douglas of the Native American United Methodist Church in Anaheim, and end with a brief moment of silence. We acknowledge that this land on which we gather in Irvine is physically situated in the original ancestral homelands of the Tongva and Ahashiman peoples. We pay respect to these and all indigenous peoples, past, present, and future, and their continuing presence in the homeland and throughout their historical diaspora. We pay homage to those who were stolen from Africa, placed in bondage, falsely named as chattel, and forced into labor, who were called slaves but never submitted to such and have always been fully human, with an unbroken connection to the divine and to each other. We honor our African ancestors for this still unpaid labor which built what is now the Americas. To both our indigenous and African forebears, we commit to the continued struggle for liberation and reparations. But it's only through freedom and justice that we truly give honor. And before we start the moment of silence, I also would like to honor the martyrs of my people in Palestine and my people in Lebanon who have been killed and are being killed by the Israeli war machine that is funded by the US government. So for those people and for our ancestors and forebears, we take a moment of silence. Thank you. Our forum today will be moderated by the one and only Al Jabbar. Al is one of our community leaders. He's very, very involved in the school district, and now he's also very involved in the local government of Orange County. And we are very grateful to you, Al, for taking the time and moderating this forum. And without further ado, I'll turn the mic to Al. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lulu. I think I know why they asked me to do this, because I'm not an Irvine resident.
That's why.
So I could be impartial and make sure that I keep everybody on time, and also make sure that we're not going over the top. So having said that, I know, Lulu, you forgot to acknowledge the organizations who actually organized this. And let me give a shout out to the Arab American Civic Council, Yalla Indivisible, CAIR California. Oh, she did. I'm so sorry. Maybe I was not listening, see? And Jewish Voice for Peace, OC. There you go. I'm good for this. So the bathrooms are to my left. So if you exit, you could just make a left and go out there. So, all right. Having said that, I will go right into the questioning. Let me explain what we will be doing. Before we begin, I want to go over the format and the rules for tonight, which has already been emailed to all the candidates. And each of the candidates will have 3 minutes for an opening statement. Following that, we'll move into a lightning round of yes or no questions. And that strictly is yes or no, not a but and explanation. And we will dive directly into our questions, which are based on our community who have submitted these questions previously, and our organization has actually put the questions together. Now, if time permits, we will end with a few live questions from our audience, and wrap up the closing statements, which each candidate will have about a minute or so. And please note that there is a timekeeper present who will signal when 30 seconds remain, when your time is up, and they're sitting right in front of you. And I kindly ask all candidates to respect their time limit to ensure a fair and balanced discussion. And also, please remember to maintain a respectful tone throughout the evening. Personal attacks, inflammatory language, or interruptions will not be allowed, which I don't think you gentlemen and the lady, hopefully she'll be here, will not engage in. And finally, no props or visuals or aids are permitted in the audience. And videos as well? Okay, so I've been told to refrain from taking any videos, and actually the forum is already being live streamed. And I'm glad that I didn't put that in here, but thank you for the reminder. Please take this moment to kind of silence your phones so that way we're not interrupting our guests here as well. So to start off with, I want to introduce our candidates. I'm going to start out with Mr. Ron Scoledsang. Want to go ahead and wave? We have Dr. Lee Sun. Mr. Akshat Bhatia. And our current Vice Mayor, Larry Agran. And I want to note that the invitations were accepted by all of the candidates who are running, so we will hopefully see Tammy Kim here shortly. All right, now we'll begin with the opening statement. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to introduce themselves and share a bit about their campaign. And let's start with, I'm going to start out with Mr. Scoledsang.
Oh, yeah. Start the timer now?
Yeah, and then your timekeepers are right up front.
So
Green will be.
seconds, and then red means your time's up.
Stop. Okay.
And I will tell you when it is when the timekeeper tells me yes.
Quick, go. Go.
Okay, 1, 2.
Go.
Go. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for giving me your time and your attention today. My name is Ron Scoledsang, and I'm running for Mayor of Irvine. In the past 10 years, I've been blessed to find love, get married, have my first child. He's in Arizona right now. Open multiple businesses, do a lot of community service, become a world champion in kickboxing, and even purchase our first home, all here in Irvine, in only 10 years' time. She's been here for 20, so she wins for that. But it's safe to say that not only do we love this city, but we're going to be here for quite a while. The city is very near and dear to our hearts, and we care what happens to it, and that's why we're here today. In 2021, we saw a massive rise in attacks against our elderly community, and we wanted to do something about it. So we started a nonprofit called Seniors Fight Back, and since then, we've provided over 8,000 students with self-defense workshops and resources for our elderly and beyond. It's been amazing to see the transformation from going in with fear and going out with confidence. I've been blessed to be able to have successful businesses that have given me the experience and the background to make anything efficient. I found my purpose a while ago, not too long ago, I'm 39, but enough to experience life, some life. And I found my purpose was to make the world a better place through my vessel, which is martial arts. And through martial arts, I became very, very proficient at business. I've got about 5 currently, and they're doing pretty decent. So very, very fortunate for that. And through my business, I've been able to be very effective at community service, hence Seniors Fight Back. And I've been able to help thousands of people, not only physically, but spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. And now it's time to help the 320,000 residents of Irvine. That's why I'm here. That's why I was born. My purpose is to make a world a better place through my vessel. But why vote for me? Why support me? You know, when we decided to make Irvine our official home to raise our child and put him in school and all that stuff, it was because Irvine was one of the safest cities in the country. Irvine had one of the best public education systems in the country. And fast forward to 2024, I literally just was on a podcast and we researched how safe Irvine was. It went from number 1, dropped down to number 10. And that's factual. You can Google that right now. And it's, for being number 1 and dropping down number 10, that's very, very alarming. And we need to do something about that. Even for my child, I'm very, very, very fortunate to be able to put my child in public education. Because if we didn't live in Irvine, we'd be going to private school. In fact, we did put him in private school because we didn't even know that pre-K or TK was an option for our residents. And so that was very concerning for us.
All right, thank you, Mr. Scoledsang. You know, I'm going to take the privilege and ask you to hold your applause so that we could run through the questions really fast and give them the opportunity, and so that we could have more questions answered, right? So I'll go to Dr. Sun.
Good evening. Thank you for the organizers, Arab American Civic Council, and all the other organizers, and also the audience here today to participate in this very important forum, you know, to advance democratic process. My name is Lee Sun. I have been Irvine resident for 22 years, and I raised 4 children in Irvine, and they benefited from the exceptional Irvine public school system and went on to college and now become, one is attorney, one is doctor, and another one is IT engineer, and my son is a professional e-sport coach. That's what I didn't expect, but he's enjoying it. So I really love Irvine, and I'm currently the Irvine City's Finance Commissioner. Previously, I served in the Irvine's Investment Advisory Committee for 5 years, including 2 years as the unanimously elected chair, so overseeing our city's investment portfolio. So I also served 2 years as the president of Asian American Advocacy Alliance, advocating for Asian American rights and also fighting against the Asian hate events during the epidemic. So when I attend the city council meetings, 2 things struck me. One thing is that, you know, residents' voices are often blatantly ignored. You can see whatever you want, they do whatever they want, and really that's not acceptable. Second is that actually a lot of the, you know, the project solutions, it's from common sense. It's very obvious. Some are bad, some are good, but, you know, look at them, they just can't get the agreement, can't get the right vote. That's because in the back, there are other things, dynamics there, partisan politics, you know, special interests, some other things. So that prompted me to run from there. When I'm elected, I'll be working towards a more responsive and transparent city council, and prioritize the needs of residents, and improve our security, educations, and also traffic, and also, you know, affordable housing. All the important things the residents have concerns. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Bhatia.
Okay. So first of all, I'm gonna let you know that I do have some accent. So if you guys don't understand anything, please ask me again. No problem. So I want to thank the organizers for inviting me here, giving me the opportunity. I really, really appreciate it. The reason why I'm running for mayor is, I got a lot of reasons, honestly. But the first, like, I'll let you know the top 4 reasons why I'm running. Number 1, I want to be a voice of a parent. So we all know that Irvine basically is a city to raise your family, to raise your kid. You know, people move to Irvine all over the world, like, I mean, all over the state, like throughout, just to raise their families. So I feel that parents' voice have been avoided, like they've not been heard. The recent example is the bill AB 1955, which restrict teachers to let parents know what the kids are doing at school, you know, in certain aspect. So, and I feel that it's a overreach of parental right of a government, and it should not be allowed. As a parent, we should be able to know everything what our kid is doing at school. Now, some people might take me otherwise, think that maybe I'm against LGBTQ community. I'm not. I love them. I love everyone living in Irvine. Some of my best friends are from that community. In fact, my wedding suit was done by one of my closest friends, and he's from that community. So I love everyone in the community. I really want that we all live together, respect each other, and then prosper together. So that's my one reason. Parents, I think we need someone who can represent the parents and the kids. So the other one, I feel that there's lack of coordination between school boards and city council. I think we need to do much better in that aspect so that our students can succeed academically and do better in life. So the third one is housing accessibility. I mean, we don't have housing shortage, as some people might think that we have housing shortage. We don't. I think affordability is a problem. I personally feel that we make our housing more affordable, specifically for the people like teachers, police department, fire department, who can afford otherwise. So we should really work for them. The fourth thing is supporting small businesses. I feel that we should really support local Irvine residents and encourage them to open small businesses within the city of Irvine. We should give them as much as incentives possible so they can thrive. These are my most important 4 topics, 4 issues why I'm running for. There are other things, and hopefully we can discuss that later too. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. And let's go to Mr. Agran.
Thank you. Thank you very much for participating tonight. I want to thank our hosts, the organizers. I'm reminded a little bit of a paraphrase of a common axiom. It takes an entire village to create a good candidate forum, and we appreciate that you're a part of this tonight. These forums are an opportunity to talk about the future of our city. You know, there's so much of a focus on these ballots at the very top. Who should I vote for president, for U.S. Senate, for Congress, and so forth? The truth of the matter is, your vote for candidates and policies and programs locally will have the most immediate effect on your quality of life. And it's worth paying attention to, and I'm so glad that those here understand that. Let me just say, my wife, Phyllis, is here. She's a physician, a pediatrician. We came to Irvine under unexpected circumstances. She was a public health practitioner. I was a lawyer with the state legislature. We were in Sacramento. Although we had grown up in Los Angeles and we met in the civil rights movement, our education was at Berkeley and on the East Coast at Harvard, where she was a practitioner of public health. I earned my law degree. We came back out to California and had an opportunity to do some work in Sacramento. Then we were fortunate that she got accepted to medical school at UC Irvine. At that time, they were not accepting women routinely. On the contrary, they overtly discriminated against women. She was in one of the first breakthrough classes. 50 years later, she's still a practicing pediatrician, making a difference. And we worked very hard together on public policy elsewhere, but also here in the city of Irvine. We discovered, living here and raising our son, that we could be a part of a new city where we could realize our dreams to create the city of our dreams, a city that is free of segregation, discrimination, the unfair policies of the past, a city where we could have diversity, integration, we could save open space, build affordable housing, figure out how to live together, work together in a city that was quite different from cities elsewhere. And that's what I hope we'll be able to talk about tonight, what we've done and what we can do going forward. Thank you.
All right, let's give a round of applause for everybody who actually stayed under that minute. All right, so now we'll be moving on to our lightning round. As I mentioned before, it's going to be a yes or no answer, and there's no explanation attached to it. So I'm going to start this round with Dr. Sun, and then I'll come back to you, Mr. Scoledsang. No maybes. All yes or no. That's what I've been directed. So let's see what the question is, and then we'll see if we could give you a pass on the maybe. All right. Dr. Sun, it starts with you. Do you support increasing Irvine's affordable housing stock over the next 4 years? Yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Bhatia?
Yes.
Mr. Agran?
Yes.
Mr. Scoledsang? Okay. All right, you guys got the answer. Now, next question. I'm going to start out with Mr. Bhatia, which is going to be, should Irvine invest more in expanding public transportation options within the city?
Yes.
Mr.
Specifically, Irvine Connect.
Oh, that's a yes or no. Mr. Agran?
Yes.
Mr. Scoledsang?
Yes.
And Dr. Sun?
Yes.
All right. Third question, I'll start with you, Mr. Agran, and that's going to be, do you believe Irvine needs stronger policies to protect the environment and combat climate change?
Yes.
Mr. Scoledsang?
Yes.
Dr. Sun?
Yes.
Mr. Bhatia?
Yes.
I thought that was an easy ball, right? All right. All right, so this goes to you, Mr. Scoledsang, which is going to be, should the city allocate additional resources to support mental health services for youth and students?
Yes.
All right, Dr. Sun,
Yes.
Mr. Bhatia,
Yes.
and Mr. Agran.
Yes.
Man, those were easy answers. I would have loved to be on that panel, right? Okay. You know what? It's truly an icebreaker because the fire fund is coming up. So, all right. Okay, so let me go into our topic-based questions. Now, you will have about a minute and 30 seconds. So our timekeepers are going to be helping you, and I'm going to wait till she is ready for it. But you will get to answer these questions, and they are going to be topic-based, which are, again, submitted by Irvine residents. I'm going to take the liberty of picking which questions, so that way we could make sure that we get through this fine. It's 1 minute and 30, so 30 seconds left. Give them yeah. And all right, so let me go ahead and start out. Since I started off with, both, I'm going to start out with Mr. Bhatia, and that's going to be, the first question is related to housing and development. Irvine is known for its planned development and green spaces. How do you plan to manage growth while preserving these key elements of the city's identity?
I think it's a really, really important question. Why? Because we talk about Irvine is getting really congested, and we are thinking about building more homes, let's say 57,000 homes in the next, up till 2027. I think we need to be very careful about that, especially with the school system, because right now we have 1 teacher on 30 kids in each elementary school, and we have to make sure we only build homes which are really which we really needed. We don't go overboard with that because that would only lower the quality of life in Irvine. So we have to maintain that. We have to maintain the quality of education. We have to make sure that the traffic doesn't, it really does not congest the traffic. So there are a lot of factors we have to understand. So I think more than building more homes, we should focus on housing affordability, as I mentioned in my opening speech, because we don't have any shortage of homes. We have affordability problem. And our first priority should be to get those homes to our teachers, to our police department people, and to our fire department people, so they can serve the community better. And then, of course, we'll be much safer. Thank you.
All right, next goes to Mr. Agran.
It's the same question?
Same question. Yeah. Do you want me
Thank
to
you.
repeat it?
Yes.
Irvine is known for its planned development and green spaces. How do you plan to manage growth while preserving these key elements of the city's identity?
Let me start with the open spaces, the green spaces in the city. Fully 1/3 of the entire city of Irvine is dedicated to open space, permanent preservation without development, free of development. That didn't happen by accident. It happened because a number of us entered into negotiations with the Irvine Company. I was proud to be on the city council and the lead on this, and to insist that going forward, in conjunction with developing the city, we had to have assurances that over 10,000 acres of permanent open space, permanent in perpetuity, would be set aside free of development. We succeeded in that effort. Now it's time to enter into negotiations one more time with the Irvine Company. You know, the Irvine Company owns 35,000 apartment units in town. They charge a lot of money for rent. We have to insist that we meet affordability, not by building additional housing, but by entering into a bargain with the Irvine Company to lower rents, cut them basically in half on 5,000 existing dwelling units, existing apartments, thereby doubling our affordable housing stock. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Agran. And now the question goes to Mr. Scoledsang.
Thank you. Could you repeat the question one more time, please?
Sure. Irvine is known for its planned development and green spaces. How do you plan to manage growth while preserving these key elements of the city's identity?
So just like anything else in life, we require proper balance. I know when I said no to the affordable housing units, I got a bunch of uhs, right? But let me explain why. And so the state has mandated that we do about 24,000 affordable housing units, which is fine, and we've approved 57,000. Now, while that is great because we should have more people in our beautiful city, but I think what we fail to neglect is infrastructure. Can we handle 57,000 more affordable housing units? And it's not the homes that are the problem, it's how many more people will be in here. If we have 57,000 more homes in the next 20 years, that means we're gonna have 100,000 to 300,000 more residents, depending on the household. That's why there's that big variance. And you gotta think, traffic's already bad. Traffic is gonna get worse. With more people comes a higher percentage of crime. Crime is already going up. I told you earlier that we went from one of the safest cities in the country down to number 10. Being top 10 is great, but not when you've been number 1 for quite a while, right? And so all kinds of challenges. Our infrastructure is at risk. And so we've got to find that medium. And the state has already done that research and found that the 24,000 units is adequate, something that our city can handle. So I do stand behind more affordable housing. I do stand behind making homes more affordable, like all the other gentlemen said. But we've got to find that proper balance, because without proper balance, we're going to be off the tipping scales. So that's my thoughts on that. Thank you.
I got to say, nice catch, nice comeback. All right, okay. So, Dr. Sun.
Yes, we definitely need to preserve the existing nice villages of Irvine. That's what is the signature of Irvine, and also the open spaces. And well, when we build the new homes, there had to be we have to consider all the factors like the traffic, schools, police, and all the other amenities like library, all the other things. So when we build the new homes, we have to be creative. We have to be innovative. So cannot, we were not allowed to build in the existing villages. Those are very nice villages. Don't disturb that. And also our open spaces. We can build in, the locations around the transportation hubs, the business centers, and build more mixed-use homes so people are, we can get the market price down, and also people can afford, and also will reduce traffic, close the transportation centers, and also, can walk to shops and movie theaters, all the other amenities. So that's the way to do, and our commit, we definitely need to preserve the existing villages and open spaces. That's not a question. That's not negotiable. We have to keep that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Sun. And now our next question is related to transportation and traffic. And this goes to, I'm going to start out with Mr. Agran. Traffic congestion is growing concern for Irvine residents. What measures would you implement to improve traffic flow and public transportation options in the city?
One way of controlling traffic is not overbuilding, not overdeveloping, because the fact of the matter is, here in Southern California, as a general rule, when people move to a city, they bring with them 1, 2, sometimes 3 automobiles. We have invested hundreds of millions of dollars in infrastructure. And the fact of the matter is, we can't expand our road system anymore. We can't widen roads forever. We have to see to it that our rate of growth, and particularly our rate of automobile growth and traffic growth in the city, is stabilized, even reduced by creating denser communities, downtown-type communities, but building those slowly and carefully. Let me just add one thing I want to come back to. We'll come back to it again on transit and so forth. We obviously have to extend our transit systems, bring other transportation to bear, but I want to make one factual correction. Irvine is still the #1 safest city in the country. Not number 10, we're #1. We work together to make it that way, and that's a fact.
All right, now we're going to go to Mr. Scoledsang.
Last time I'll ask, could you repeat the question, please?
No worries. All right, traffic congestion is a growing concern for Irvine residents. What measures would you implement to improve traffic flow and public transportation options in the city?
So we already discussed about the housing situation that we're currently in, building adequately so our infrastructure can handle it. But I believe another option is alternatives. Alternatives are very important. Now, no matter what we do, whatever we propose, and whatever actually happens, driving will always be the primary source of transportation in our city and pretty much across the whole country. But alternatives are a great way to reduce the percentage of people that are on the road, right? We have e-bikes, bicycles, scooters. I've never seen so many people walk and jog in my life than in the past 5-7 years, and it's been amazing to see. So we definitely need alternatives. Technology is a popular option too. For those of us that live in Irvine, how many people have stayed at a streetlight for more than 5 minutes, right? Some of these streetlights don't even change to green, and sometimes even at 5 a.m., I'm sitting there and it's still red light, there's no other cars on the road. So I don't understand. We need technology. We need to reprogram our streetlights with proper sensors, and I don't think we're that far away. We can make the proper adjustments to our technology where if there's only one person on the road, it should easily turn green within seconds. I mean, the part of this is to control traffic. If there's no traffic to control, then what's the point of keeping me at a red light for 5+ minutes? The housing, the alternatives, technology are the 3 things that I would really, really focus on to make sure that we control this traffic issue. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Scoledsang. I would, again, repeat, let's try to hold our applause so that we can run through this fast. I know you're excited for your candidates, but we got to do this, right? All right. All right, so Dr. San, same question. What steps will you take to ensure that, traffic congestion is a growing concern for Irvine residents. What measures would you implement to improve traffic flow and public transportation options in the city?
Yes, I love Irvine. Many people love Irvine. And one of the reasons I love Irvine is diversity. We have diversity in cultures, in food, in many different other things. But one of the things we're lacking is the transportation diversity, right? We all rely on the cars. There's no other options. So we need to broaden the options. So we need to build more, again, protected bicycle lanes so people can bike. We need to expand the Urban Connect so people can, go to shoppings, other places without using your own car. And we also need to have school buses. Again, I lived in many different places. I love Irvine, but when I came to Irvine, one of the things I feel very different was that we didn't have school buses. When I moved here, I had 3 school-age children. Think about it, in the morning, how many trips I need to go. That created a lot of traffic. So we need to broaden the options. And those things are not difficult. You just need to have determination to do it. And those are the traditional approaches. Those things many, big cities have implemented them. We don't need to start from scratch. We just need to have the right decisions to implement them. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Bhatia.
I think the most, I think the most important measure we can take is not to overbuild Irvine. I would repeat that. That's the most crucial step. We don't overbuild. The other thing, I feel we need to focus more on Irvine Connect. I think the messaging and the marketing is not right with Irvine Connect. A lot of Irvine residents not even aware of that. We need to make those buses available in more routes, make it look more attractive, like you see in New York, hop-on, hop-off kind of buses, where people feel like getting to the buses. But right now, I think it's not being used as full capacity. So we need to make sure that the marketing and the messaging is right. Third thing, I feel the school, we need more busing to the schools, because anytime you go between 8 to 9 and between like 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, you're going to see a lot of congestion around school zones. So we need to have more transportation for kids. If we can do door-to-door drop-off and pick-up, that would be really great. So we need to expand our school busing system. That would really help Irvine. So these are my main suggestions. And of course, expanding the bike lanes and see what other tools we can use to help the traffic congestion. But look, we all know Irvine is a very Irvine, in fact, the whole state and whole country is a very car-centric place in the so it's not going to be an easy task. At the same time, we have to make sure in whatever resources we invest, we don't waste taxpayers' dollars. It's used to the fullest. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bhatia. So now we will go to Mr. Agran. Well, actually, yep. Matter of fact, I'm coming to you with a new question. And this is going to be public safety. But before I go to public safety, I'm going to take this privilege of asking this question, since a lot of you talked about transportation, and I didn't hear a lot about, I think I heard a few technology-related infusion into that. But I'm curious to know how you would, as a mayor, utilize AI to solve most of these issues within the city. So I'll start off with you, Mr. Actually, it's going to be Mr. Scoledsang. I'm going to start with you, and then I will go that way. Yeah.
No, that's up to you. It's up to you.
Implementing AI into our street light system is going to be no different than implementing AI in everything else. AI is the future. It is now. It's happening now. It's going to happen in the future. And so we have enough resources, or if we don't, I at least have enough resources where we can put together AI initiatives and programs where we can put together data, and that's all AI is putting massive amounts of data together and making calculations so that we as humans don't have to calculate and take forever. We talked about technology earlier, and I don't believe we have anything currently in place. And so I think putting together a proper team with the proper resources to put programs together so that we don't have to wait at a streetlight for over 5 minutes is definitely something should be in the future, not just for a city, but across the whole nation. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to go to Dr. Sun.
Yes. Again, I love Irvine, and another reason is innovation. Many people know that Irvine originated from Irvine Ranch, right? Everybody knows that. But how many people know that many, many years ago, the light of speed was measured right over here in Irvine Ranch? We just had a memorial just opened a few months ago. I was very surprised that only about 10, 20 people were there. So Irvine has been the innovation center for a long time. We're very proud of it. We need to use that. So again, AI future, we definitely, as mentioned, that we need to use AI to regulate, the street signals, autonomous driving, all the things. We definitely need to be that. And Irvine is a model city, in many aspects, in public safety, in public planning, master planning. We need to be in the forefront of traffic transportation advancement also. So we in the future will utilize new technologies, and we will be the model for transportation also in the future. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Bhatia.
I'm all for AI. I think it's a great tool we can have where we can automate our traffic signal system. Maybe we can automate our cars, especially now we have more of electric cars. But at the same time, we have to make sure that it does not invade our privacy. So we have to be careful about AI. I mean, I'm all for it as long as it really helps our city decongest the traffic and somehow, help in any way. So I'm all for that. But we have to, I think we should wait a little bit more because it's still pretty much new. We need to see what the outcome of AI is. If I elected as a mayor, I would like to wait at least 2 or 3 more years to see the outcome and then conclude how we can use AI as a tool to integrate within our city. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Agran.
I'll be honest with you, I have no idea how we will use AI to our benefit. My real concern is whether AI uses us, and that requires real vigilance.
He's right.
All right, thank you very much. I was curious to see a large city, how they implement AI, right? So now I want to go to a little bit of a very important topic, especially because the organizations which have actually organized the event, it's near and dear to their heart. And obviously, it has been a hot topic at City Hall, and I think it's a hot topic in many of our personal lives. Many folks in this audience have lost relatives, but at the same time, they're also concerned about Irvine and the residents who call themselves residents of Irvine who are impacted. And so I want to go to this question, which was submitted by an audience member, not an audience member, but a resident. In light of the alarming rise of anti-Muslim and anti-Palestinian hate, incidents and crimes in Irvine, how do you plan to address the issue and ensure the safety and inclusion of all residents? And what specific steps will you take to promote tolerance, prevent hate crimes, and support affected communities? And the question goes first to Dr. Sun. 1 minute and 30 seconds, and if you're a politician, you need to adhere to the time.
Yes, this question also is dear, to my heart. And during the epidemic, the Asian community, experienced the similar events, Asian hate. So that's why I mentioned earlier. During that time, I was the president of the Asian American Advocacy Alliance. We organized a lot of conferences, to educate people as to how the COVID was originated, how the community should have respect and treat each other, in peace, all the things. And we also also organize the, many events, both that's beyond the city, and in the Los Angeles, even in the Capitol Hill, and that we cannot tolerate those, hate events. So that's the very first thing. Second thing, in the city, we now have, the hate crime reporting portal. I know that there are a lot of concerns. Some people are concerned about the privacy of things. So definitely we'll work with the city, government, the managers, to be sure that we ensure people's privacy when you report, and also, people don't need to be afraid, and to get it right. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. And then next is Mr. Bhatia.
I have a very short and very strong answer for this. And we are the city of Irvine. We love each other. I think we should respect each other. We should live together, prosper together. We have no space for any kind of hate based on sex, religion, color, or anything else. So I feel if we need to be good in messaging, and if we find out that there are people who are included in any kind of hate against specific religion, sex, or color, whatever it is, we have to criminalize them to the max. We need to punish them to the max so that a lesson is being taught that Irvine as a city will not tolerate this kind of behavior. So we need to set up an example for all the other cities that we stand for every resident, no matter what the color is, what the race is, and what the religion is. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Agran.
This is an important topic, and it's difficult to cover it in 90 seconds, but it's imperative that City Hall and our city government be seen as an institution that helps enable and enforce all the anti-discrimination laws, all the anti-hate laws that are in place. We're doing that in the city of Irvine. I want to point out one very positive fact. Irvine is, by design and by implementation, the most diverse and thoroughly integrated city in the United States of America. We're actually part of a process and an experiment to see whether people of differing, often conflicting backgrounds can live together peacefully in relative harmony. We've struggled to do that. This is being stress tested now in the city of Irvine. I think so far we've managed to meet the demands of the stress test, but going forward, we're going to have to do much more to build positive, affirmative relations and respect for one another. I'd be happy to explore that in more detail if given the opportunity.
Can I add that? This is the best example of City of Irvine as a panel. 2 Asians, 1 Indian.
So I'm.
One, one old white guy.
I didn't want to say that.
All right,
So
Mr.
this is the
Bhatia, I'm
best
going to take
example
that
for us.
time off your other answer.
you.
I'm just kidding. All right, okay, all right. Well, I'll go to another serious, more topic about. I'm sorry, my bad. I forgot. Go ahead.
This is a
Time me. Hold on.
first 5
Yeah.
seconds.
Yep, there you go.
This is a very, very important topic. Throughout my whole life, I was very naive. My parents did a good job of raising me in a way that everybody was equal. Everybody is the same, And as I get older, I realize how unequal this world is, and it's very, very, very unfortunate. And one of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I'm sitting here today, is to combat that. If we're going into specifics and logistics and how we're going to combat that in our city, we know that media does a very good job of either painting you in a very positive light or painting you in the most negative light possible. So what we need to do is 3 things. We need to have proper education on cultures and ethnicities, religions. We need to have cultural immersion. And then we also need to have a voice. What do those 3 things mean? I'm trying to sound fancy, right? Education. People need to know what the truth is. If you follow only what's on the news and what's on the media, it will show you the most horrible examples possible. I've been really, really fortunate to meet a lot of awesome Muslim people over the past few months, and they've been the sweetest, kindest, most intelligent people ever. And if you watch the news, it doesn't depict that whatsoever. I won't stay on that too long. Cultural immersion. What makes you love something more is to spend more time with it. I believe we need more cultural events, community events, so we can learn. You know, the more we have our hands deep into the process and what's going on as far as cultural norms and whatnot, the more we can connect to it. A voice. In my culture, we're not...
All right. Okay, so I'm going to start out with
I didn't get a green thing.
you were passionate that you forgot the green thing. That's okay. All right. That sounds it. All right, we're going to start out with Mr. Scoledsang first, and this is related to environmental sustainability. And I'm going to hit this because I want to make it city and also related to our community itself. But I'm going to go ahead and start out with the environmental sustainability question. The question to you, sir, is Irvine has a history of being environmentally conscious. What policies or initiatives would you pursue to promote sustainability and address climate change at the local level?
Any change to change the world, you've got to start out local. And so for sustainability, that's one of the reasons why we live in Irvine. It's green, it's natural, it's beautiful, it's pretty. I don't have to drive everywhere. We're fortunate where we could literally ride a bicycle across a lake, go to a pizza restaurant, eat pizza, and ride a bicycle home and not use our car one bit. But we talked about housing before, and right now some of my friends over in Altair, Great Park, they've got to drive 20 minutes to go to the Woodbury Center just to get some milk or maybe a bag of nuts. Even worse, sometimes they're leaving the city and going to Lake Forest or Rancho Cucamonga just to go to a nearby place because Irvine doesn't have enough retail shops and shopping centers for us to have a proper quality of life. And that's one of the reasons why we live in Irvine, to make sure that we don't have to drive if we don't want to. Sustainability, green. I love that there's so many parks, but we need more. I keep going back on this housing issue, but it just has to be adequate. Yes, let's build more homes, but we need more parks, we need more recreation areas. We also need a proper library. I've seen some great plans for a library for the future, and I want to push the execution of that. We've got lots of space in the Great Park, and it's so much opportunity to build wonderful things, not just for sports, but for everyday activities, a place for people to do things. Even for our senior citizens, we've got 3 senior citizen centers that are being underutilized. I would love to see them full with events. I want our seniors to have things to do and be happy every day, not just be stuck in their room all day.
All right, thank you. This goes to Mr. Agran.
As far as climate action goes, the city is in the midst of preparing a climate action plan. It's been very long, too long in coming. There are several things we need to do, and we need to do quickly. Transit was mentioned earlier, school bus system. I'm pleased to have been in the lead on putting through a pilot project connecting the Quail Hill community and related communities to University High School in the southern part of the city, relieving a lot of traffic, reducing pollution. We need to do this all over the city with one pilot program after another. We also need to get serious about solarizing and using batteries for our rooftops. We should be solarizing not hundreds of rooftops a year, but thousands, even tens of thousands. That would make a real difference. We've gone down a terrible detour, entering the Orange County Power Authority, a big, big, big mistake, costing us $100 million, and with nothing to show for it. Let's solarize rooftops. Let's also plant 200,000 trees, 50% increase in the number of trees in the city, cool our city, clean the air, sequester carbon. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Agran, and then we'll go to Mr. Bhatia.
I think the most important thing we should do first, again, I know we keep repeating it, but not to overbuild Irvine. Imagine if we build more 57,000 homes, how many cars is going to bring, how much more pollution is going to bring. So this is the most important step. The second step, of course, focusing on solarizing. We need to encourage homeowners to install a solar panel. And of course, as you said, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be like in hundreds. It actually has to be in thousands and more. So we have to really encourage them. See if we can, as a city, somehow give them incentives to put solar panels, if that would really help. The third thing, I think, again, we need to focus on public transportation, especially school busing system. We need to have more school transportation so that we don't have a lot of congestion, a lot of pollution, especially during school hours. Fourth, we need to focus more on public transportation in a way, like for people, like let's say Irvine Connect. Again, Irvine Connect, the messaging is not very clear so far. I feel that, and we need to increase the ridership. So we need to focus more on marketing and messaging Irvine Connect. These are the four things. I think if we can start off here, it would be a good beginning. And as you say that, good beginning is always a halfway done. So once we get here, we can always think about next steps. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, and Dr. Sun.
Yes, environmental sustainability is not one thing. We have to take a holistic approach in everything. From transportation, we need to reduce, the car usage, mileage, all the things that we need to implement the solar panel usage, and we also need to reduce any chemical usages, in the city. I had a PhD in chemical engineering. At the beginning of my career, just have a job that's good, so I worked actually for Monsanto at that time, making those pesticides, all those things. So I found that I didn't like that. So later I moved to making medicines. So I moved into pharmaceutical and medical devices. So that made much more meaningful. So in the city, for example, another thing, we just implemented, I think, quite a few artificial turf sports field. Don't do that. That's not good. All those are materials which were degraded, eventually will go to waste and leach chemicals, all those things. Don't do that. So many different things we can do. Again, the city is coming up with a big plan. We need to review that, all the specific details, implement the good things. So keep Irvine clean environment. We breathe clean air, clean water, and have a good environment for all generations to come. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I'm going to go into community engagement and transparency. What steps will you take to improve transparency and communication between the city government and Irvine city residents? And here, I'll start out with Mr. Agran.
I think the city is very transparent now. There always can be improvements, but we have so many laws mandating disclosure, response to Public Records Act requests, and otherwise rendering our activities as transparent as possible. Where we fall short, we want to hear from people, we want to correct those mistakes, and be fully transparent. Going forward, if I'm fortunate enough to be elected mayor, one thing I want to do is institute before at least one council meeting a month, institute what I'd call moments with the mayor, minutes with the mayor. Before the meeting, set aside 60 minutes for people to come in before the meeting starts, meet with me, talk about your concerns about city government, your concerns about the city, criticizing us where warranted, and entering into a real shared conversation about what we can do to improve our city and the responsiveness of city government.
All right, thank you. Now, next is Mr. Bhatia.
I think we need to bring more transparency in the city of Irvine, the council. We need to get rid of special interest, lobbying. That's very, very important. I think lobbyists should not be deciding the future of Irvine. It should be the resident of Irvine. So we need to think about the special interests of resident of Irvine, not the lobbyists. So we need to really focus on that, be more transparent, be a city for the people. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right, thank you. And now goes to Dr. Sun.
Yes, the city, it's better than other cities, but I don't think it's transparent enough at all. So again, I mentioned earlier, the public comments, right? You spend, people come all the way to the city hall to voice their opinions, but it's just ignored. And sure, there are Brown Act, the other things, restrictions, but I think we can do better. I would see, all the public comments, just go there and just go to record, goes nowhere. I would say, I will work with the city attorney to be sure that it's, conform to Brown Act, but I would say all the public comments, even non-agendized, not in this meeting, but the next meeting or later, everybody should receive a response. I will do that. Yeah. So that's one thing. Second thing, Vice Mayor Agran mentioned, we definitely need to reach out more, not just waiting people to come to the city council. We need to reach out more, especially for important decisions. We need to do much better job in communications, getting people's input, and also reach out, to all different communities and have a meet and greet, all the time, not just election time, and we have to do that. And another thing is approachability, right? You need to be okay, you can just shake hands with people, but if people look at you, say, I don't want to, okay, right. But I want to say that you need to be approachable. I'll keep an open door and anybody can come to talk.
Thank you, Dr. Sun. All right, Mr. Scoledsang.
I think transparency is a major issue in our city. We have one of the best cities in the country. In fact, we set the example for other cities in the country to follow. Literally, other states are watching what happens in Irvine and dictating whether they do what we do or not, or do what we don't do. I've been fortunate to attend some of these meetings, and I've seen people bicker back and forth. I've seen lots of scandal, right? Even if you search any of the candidates followed by the word scandal, there's a huge Google search engine that will give you tons and tons of articles on those such things. And we need people that just speak the truth, be honest, and speak. This job is easy for me because I don't need a script. I just speak from the heart. I make sure I'm knowledgeable about what I know. And then when I do that, this is easy. I didn't memorize this. I'm just talking because I believe in the things that I want to do. We need to make sure that we are transparent. We need to be very, very clear and concise. If something is being passed and something that's going on and it doesn't seem logical, you gotta ask why, right? City council shouldn't be complex rocket science. It should be very, very easy. This is what the people want, and this is what we should give them. I invite everybody to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to meet with you one-on-one and address every single one of your concerns. We've been knocking on doors for the past few months, and we've been able to speak with hundreds of residents, and that's the point of our job, to be a voice for the people. And so, if I haven't knocked on your door yet, please reach out to me. We even have Facebook ads that are reaching out right now to set up one-on-one appointments so we can hear your voice. That's the point of all of this, is just to be a voice. Even in my...
All right. Well, here's something that's not rocket science: free speech. And I think everybody, especially the community, the Muslim community, and students who actually are at UCI have been facing a lot of challenges lately. And this question, first question goes to Mr. Bhatia, and this is a question by one of the community members who submitted it. Irvine community members, including UCI students and faculty, have faced months of relentless death threats, slander, defamation, and doxing. And I think you probably know what happened recently, as this weekend. On the 26th, a doxing van appeared on UCI campus with fake news crew, harassing those who spoke against genocide in Palestine. So as a community, we're concerned for our kids, right? So we want to know as mayor what you would do to not only protect free speech on UCI campus, and as a mayor, you have some authority, and especially outside of campus on City of Irvine premises, especially on in City Hall, trying to protect free speech, but also protecting our youth. I think that's a valuable thing that everyone has been talking about, and I want to know and the community wants to know, what you would do as mayor to protect their rights. So let me start out with Mr. Bhatia.
I think this is very unfortunate. It should not happen, has no place in our city. As I said before, any doxing, any kind of discrimination based on race, language, color, it's not acceptable, and this is very, very unfortunate. I really don't support that. I think how we can work on this, we need to have one-on-one dialogue, we need to have more workshop, we need to have, meetings with all the student councils in the school, in the colleges, in the campus, and see how we can explain ourselves, how we can get behind the main reason why people are doing this, right? Try to explain them the situation, try to explain them how we can be united and respect each other and prosper together. As a mayor, what I would do is, if I find out, again, I'm very strict in this, I'm strict in any kind of, discrimination against any race and religion. So if that happens, we have to deal with very, very strictly, and we have to, I would say that it's kind of hard to explain in words, but I feel this is just not okay, and we just have to be very strict with those people. And we have to verbally tell them this is not okay, even if we have to criminalize those acts, we should do that and take it to the court. That's all I would say that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And next, it goes to Dr. Sun.
Yes, free speech is, the basis of this, the freedom of this country. We definitely need to guarantee that. And but especially the UCI campus, students have the, at the forefront of free, ideas and thoughts. Obviously, we have to protect that. Well, as a mayor, I do several things. Number one, our police department are definitely need them to have more training. We talk about diversity training, the culture training. Them to be sensitive to the events and to the people's feelings, all the things. And a lot of times, this kind of situation, we thought, okay, police are very professional. Our Irvine police is good, it's one of the best, in the country. But a lot of times, they come to these events, sometimes they don't know what to do. Honestly, a lot of times they are not sure. So we have to train them and also, use our influence. We cannot dictate what UCI does, but we can definitely, as a partner, of the city, to talk with them and to be sure that they guarantee, the students' freedom. In the city, we definitely do even better, right? So that's the thing. And also, like this event, increase mutual understandings, global village. We need to understand each other and respect each other, have a peaceful city. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next is Mr. Scoledsang.
Freedom of speech is a given right for us. It's one of the beautiful things about living in America. We can say whatever we want, and it should be protected. As long as it's not physically dangerous, as long as laws aren't being broken, people aren't being hurt physically, then you should be able to say whatever you want, as pleasing as may be or as offensive as it may be. You may agree with it, you may not agree with it. We should be able to say whatever we want. I got to talk with some of the organizers here, and everybody here is quite supportive of everything that we're talking about, and it's really nice to be with everybody here today. But they were saying there was phone calls, threatening phone calls that were not supportive of this event. And to the fact where we almost felt like I'm actually watching out the door right now, because based on the conversations I had with some of the organizers, we might have some unexpected guests that aren't too supportive of the event that we're having this evening. And we need to be able to protect our free speech. The last thing we want to do is say we want and have fear that we may be attacked or have harm come our way. So I would like to work with, Irvine PD, our local police department, to make sure that if there is a potential threat coming our way, they should be here to make sure that we have a safe and secure space so we can say and share whatever our opinions are, regardless of what those opinions may be. Let's protect it at all costs. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Ms. Agran.
Let me speak first to what transpired on the UCI campus. A lot remains to be discovered, reported, and dealt with. The city of Irvine has very, very limited authority with respect to the campus at UCI. On the contrary, we are part of a mutual aid agreement where they were calling the shots. And in my view, what took place on the UCI campus and the conduct of the campus administration needs to be investigated fully and effectively. I yield to no one in my commitment to upholding free speech in the city of Irvine. Many of you who are seated here have been observers and participants in the exercise of free speech, raucous though it has been at times, in our city hall. Many of you take part in demonstrations throughout the city, week after week after week. We have very highly trained police, trained in de-escalation, protecting people's civil liberties, and you can expect from me as mayor that we will only do better and better in the future in this regard.
Thank you, Mr. Agran. So now I know we have very limited time, so I'm going to move on to a couple of audience questions, and we might be able to take maybe one or two. While Lulu goes to the person, well, put your hand up if you're interested in asking a question, and Lulu will walk up to you. But don't get comfortable. I'm going to ask you a very quick lightning round question based on the answers that you just gave. I'm interested to know, in your capacity as a candidate right now for mayor, and also Mr. Agran as a council member, who is currently a council member and who holds a powerful position, would you stand with some of our students who are being targeted for prosecution by the DA, specifically based on free speech? So I want to ask, Mr. Scoledsang, yes or no?
Yes.
All right. Dr. Sun,
Yes.
Mr. Bhatia,
100% yes.
Mr. Agran,
Just yes or no?
yes or no? Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, and I want the audience to know, because I'm a recovering politician. So let me tell you this, right? I want their answers to be known, but I also want each and every one of you to hold them accountable. If you know students who are actually being targeted, please call them and ask them to stand by and see if they're doing that. And that shows how they would react to your questions. So,
I'll leave my number here. Make sure you call me if that happens. I'm always here.
all right. Thank you, Mr. Bhatia. All right, so I'm going to go to Lulu.
Thank you, everybody, for being here.
And so before you ask the question, I want to say, keep your questions as condensed as possible. I know we love to make statements, but let's ask the question so that we get more questions from the audience.
That was my question. You took my question.
Oh, okay.
But I just want to ask the other three panelists here. Tammy Kim is not here. Last city council meeting, Tammy stopped the video from being played out 5 seconds into the video because it did not meet her standards. She tried to shut us down, and not me actually, it wasn't me. It was a fellow Korean American. And she wanted to stop freedom of speech. If you had that incident happening in your mayor, how would you handle that?
All right, the first question goes to Dr. Sun. Oh, the first answer.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, this one. Yeah, I watched the meeting also, and definitely. I honestly, I have to commend Vice Mayor Agran. I think he did a very good job, and I'll do the same thing. And again, we have a Brown Act, we have freedom of speech, all the things. We have the rule of law, the rule of the city council. All those things have to be observed. So yeah, that's definitely I do the same thing as Vice Mayor Agran did, and depends on the other things. I'm an attorney also, so I definitely could understand the things. I could definitely do probably even better. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. And the next is Mrs. Scoledsang.
If we're attending a city council meeting, which I believe everybody should attend, if you want your voice heard, you should definitely go out and speak. If enough people speak about it, someone has to listen. If you're too shy to go and speak, find somebody like me or some of these other candidates and we can speak for you. That's our job. As far as freedom of speech, it's free everywhere you go, regardless of situation, agenda, city council meeting. If there's a public forum going on and you're open to public comments, you should be able to comment on whatever you like, even if it's about squirrels or cotton candy. It shouldn't matter. There should be no restrictions. So as offensive as a video may be to some or others, they have the right to play that video in its entirety, as long as it's under 3 minutes according to the rules of the city council meeting that you're on. So yeah, there's no reason why it should have been stopped. I totally agree.
Next is, yeah, please hold your applause so that we could go. I knew you were passionate, so we'll wait. All right, no problem. We'll go to Mr. Agran. Oh, he did. My bad. Then I will go to Mr. Bhatia, yes.
I think freedom of speech are a constitutional right. If I'm elected as a mayor, it's not going away. It's for everyone. It's for city council members. It's for all the residents. If that happens, we are not a city anymore. I mean, we just completely gone. So we have to protect that. And what Larry did, I really 100% agree with that. And I promise you that the freedom of speech will be protected in this city no matter what happens. Thank you.
All right, I don't think Mr. Agran had an opportunity to answer, so go ahead, Mr. Agran.
Thank you. The circumstances of our last council meeting were a little bit unusual because the mayor, Mayor Khan, with whom I've been working very closely on these matters, she was traveling, she was halfway around the world, and so I was the presiding officer as vice mayor at the meeting. Councilmember Carroll wasn't present, so it was just myself, council members Treseder and Kim, and regrettably, Councilmember Kim did interrupt a citizen who was speaking under a topic and was showing a video that was objectionable to some, obviously, and she interrupted that. That was improper. She said it was a point of order. I said, what's your point of order? She tried to state a point of order, which was basically that she didn't like what was being said. And I said, that's not a valid point. I rule that the video should be played to its 3-minute conclusion. And we got through that point. But you have to have a mayor, a presiding officer, who is really committed and understands free speech and conducts himself or herself accordingly.
Thank you, Mr. Agran. We have another question. Okay, we got two more.